The alley. The rain fell sideways through the ruins of New Meridian, and Corporal Marcus Hale wasn't supposed to be here. His patrol had ended an hour ago. He'd taken a shortcut through the outer wards, the crumbling edge of the city where humans and newly arrived Vihari refugees crowded into the same broken buildings, eyeing each other like dogs over a single bone. Tensions had been boiling for months. 2 nights ago, a Vihari elder had been burned alive in his shelter. Nobody was arrested. Nobody ever was. Marcus heard the sound before he saw it, a small, wet whimper, like something too young to know it should stay quiet. He turned down the alley. 6 men surrounded the child. She was maybe 4 years old by Vihari reckoning, small, silver-skinned, her large luminescent eyes wide with a terror so pure it stopped his heart. The men wore the red armbands of the Meridian Purge, the street faction that had made a sport of hunting refugees. "Walk away, soldier," the nearest man said. "This doesn't concern your kind." Marcus had no weapon. He was off duty, in civilian clothes, outnumbered, and technically in a district outside his jurisdiction. He stepped between them and the child anyway. The cost? He took the first blade in his shoulder. A wild swing meant to scare him off. It didn't. He took the second and third when he refused to go down, covering the girl with his body while she pressed her trembling face into his jacket, her tiny fingers curling into the fabric. She smelled faintly of copper and stardust, a scent so alien it made his eyes water. He lost count after 5. His vision blurred. His legs gave. But he kept his arms locked around her, his back absorbing every blow meant for her frail silver bones. When the men finally heard the distant wail of patrol sirens, they ran, leaving him crumpled in the rain with her still cradled against his chest. A Vihari woman, the child's mother, he later learned, found them 60 seconds later. Her scream cut through the rain like a blade of its own. Marcus Hale closed his eyes. He didn't expect to open them again. The waking. White light. The antiseptic smell of a medical bay. A low mechanical hum. Marcus blinked, and the ceiling of the New Meridian Field Hospital resolved slowly above him. His entire torso was wrapped in biolace, the military's experimental wound sealing mesh. He counted 11 separate dressing sites before he gave up. Then he noticed the room. It was lined with warriors. 12 of them. Vihari, everyone. Tall, silver-skinned, dressed not in the worn refugee clothes he was used to seeing but in deep obsidian armor etched with patterns that seemed to shift like living ink. Their eyes were the color of distant nebulae, violet, burning, ancient. They stood at perfect attention, facing his bed, their expressions unreadable. In their culture, he would later learn, this formation had a name, Velkara, the Eternal Guard, reserved only for those the Vihari considered blood debt honored. Those who had given their body to protect Vihari life. They had come from the fleet. For warships, holding quietly in orbit for 3 days while he was unconscious, waiting to know if he lived. The child stood at the foot of his bed. Her name, he would learn, was Sail. She had her mother's large violet eyes, and she was watching him with an expression no 4-year-old should be capable of, something solemn and vast and knowing. She reached out and touched his bandaged hand with 2 small fingers. In Vihari, the word she spoke had no direct translation. The closest human equivalent was something between "I see you," and "you are mine to protect now," and "we are the same flesh." The reckoning. The Vihari ambassador arrived at noon. She stood at the edge of his bed and looked at this battered, barely alive human corporal with his rough hands and his government standard haircut, and she said simply, "You did not know her. You did not know us. You had nothing to gain." "No," Marcus agreed. "Why?" He thought about it. About the sound she made. About the way she grabbed his jacket like he was the only solid thing in the universe. She was scared, he said finally. That was enough. The ambassador was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, she placed her fist over her heart, the Vihari gesture of absolute equals. Outside the window, the four warships still held their orbit, patient as stars.